Hey, what's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. It is time for another 2015 review, and for this one I'm going to be doing the review on the brand new studio album from Trivium entitled Silence in the Snow. So Silence in the Snow is the 7th studio album, and Roadrunner Records is the record label. The follow-up is Vengeance Falls, which came out in 2013. It's an album that, to me, I really like. I think it's one of the band's best albums, and it does have some intriguing and heavy, catchy vibes on their tracks. Some really strong delivery on most of these songs on this album. So it had been one of my favourite releases of 2013 without a doubt. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is an album that I think is a major, big, mediocre disappointment. This, in my opinion, is my least favourite Trivium album, and I would prefer Ember to Inferno a little bit more than this album, even though some of the production of that album is quite weak at some places here and there. I think that's a pretty solid debut album myself. Silence in the Snow is something that is very much different. The thrash, metalcore, raw screams elements are completely vanished, just tossed aside for this album, and the way that Trivium did on this album is into a much more simplistic approach, lyrically and musically. Now, there are some songs on this album that I do like. Tracks like Silence in the Snow, Blind Leading the Blind, and also another one, The Ghost That's Haunting You, and Beneath the Sun. Those are the tracks that I think are very good ones on this album. And there are some elements on this album that are quite catchy, with some really impressive guitar soloing that is so fast and quick. And some guitar riffs on this album are quite good, but the biggest thing that I have for this album that's really missing is the really interesting, dark sound on their songwriting. Like their songwriting on Shogun, that album has a lot of some fascinating riffs, and with some strong songs with heavy delivery that is so great. And on this album is nothing like that. It's not really a bad thing. I mean, it's just Trivium trying out a new approach. You know, Opeth did it, Shinedown did it, other bands as well. It just depends on either you like it or dislike it for yourself. Production-wise of this album is good as well. It does have a really good distorted sound on the guitars, some punchy drums, some heavy bass guitar sound. The vocals on this album from Matt Heafy and the backing vocals are completely clean from start to finish. Matt's vocals, one of the best things on the album in my opinion, even though some people would think that his voice is like not the same and it's just terrible and such things. But when Matt, to me, sings clean and a proper voice, I think it is some really interesting stuff. And I think that he is a very talented musician as well, along with the other musicians on this album. Also, this is the first album to feature a different drummer since their previous drummer, Nick Augusto, from the era of In Waves to Vengeance Falls, had left the band. Some of the songs on this album are just a little bit weak and bland at some parts, and tracks like Rise Above the Tides, it's quite a repetitive song lyrically. Some of the lyrics are a little bit of a flaw to me. The lyrics on Rise Above the Tides, it's just like the same repeated verse, repeated the same chorus, with some promising moments on the track musically. That is some pretty good, decent stuff. But other tracks like Pull Me From the Void is a really hit or miss track. The Thing That's Killing Me, I think, is the most difficult song I had to get through. I wouldn't think of it as a really, really bad song. It does have some punchy sounds on the chorus, and some of the guitar soloing is really good. Like other tracks, I think that is possibly my least favourite track on this album, but I really don't hate it. I just think of it as just my least favourite song on the album. And there's a track on here called Breathe in the Flames, which includes some acoustic guitars, which is a new addition to the band's music. Well, Matt used the guitar acoustically on Ascendancy's opening track, The End of Everything, so this isn't really the first time that Trivium used acoustic guitar. So, I don't know what you guys think of this album. Do you like it or do you not like it? You can let me know in the comments below. An album that really does not become a massive, great follow-up like Vengeance Falls was when this was the follow-up to In Waves when this album came out. So, as for an album rating, I am going to give Silence in the Snow by Trivium, I would say a 7 out of 10. I think Slayer's Repentless is a little bit better of an album than this. But that's just how I would express this whole review, guys. So, thank you guys for watching, and I will keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.